the core material. Okay, welcome back, everybody.
So I'm glad that we're also getting recipes, not only about club coaching, but recipes. I just want to weigh in on that. They're making me hungry though.
Okay,
Hi,
welcome
Gina.
back. I'm here to talk about Club Coach program changes for this year. This year just started July 1st, so happy July and Toastmasters year. The Club Coach program has been tweaked, and the goal was to make it better and more effective for the club coaches and the clubs itself. The program the program the main changes are listed here in this one slide. Again, we do have the resource material, the letters, the board of director notes, and I consolidated and simplified it to this one slide. A coach can only club one club at a time. So that's a new program year change for this, starting for this program year. A coach cannot join and become a member of that club, period. They cannot be an existing member and they cannot join the membership. They have to be a third party representative to support that club as a coach. I'm sorry, I'm kind of thirsty right now. And then I guess the purpose of that is to really keep that clubs and the club coach separate in that the club coach just really needs to have a different type of hat where they're coaching the club and trying to get them to execute as a successful club. The third is the club must have served as a club officer for 12 months. Or they can serve 2 6-month terms as a club officer. And that's a fundamental skill that all club coaches must have in their Toastmasters resume, having the experience as a club officer. If a club coach is unsuccessful in the first year, in the year that they are assigned and appointed, they'd like to try again for a second year, they have to reapply and get reappointed. In the last year's program, it was an automatic reappointment. So a coach got to remain with a club for 2 years if they didn't succeed the first year. But in this new year, you would have to get reappointed by the club growth director for a second year. I'm sorry, for the club growth director will have to resubmit and reapply if a coach wants to be a coach again for year number 2. To start off the whole club coach program, a meeting must occur between a club representative, preferably the club president, the prospective club coach who wants to be the club coach, and then a district trio member or a delegate. So this meeting must occur between these 3 parties to talk about expectations, the plan expectations, as well as the signing of the agreement. And we'll look at that agreement here in a little bit. But it's really to set off the relationship the right way instead of just doing everything and executing on assumptions. And again, this is something that is documented in the board of directors letter. So they do want a meeting to occur between these 3 parties. The club that wishes to have a coach, they must have at least 3 members, 3 paid members. It used to be they can just have 1 member, but now it's increased and that club must have at least 3 members. The club coach prospect will have to complete a Pathways module. It's called Club Coach Program, and that's on Pathways, and it's open to pretty much everybody. I witnessed it and I played around with it last night on Pathways, so I do know it exists, and we'll talk about that more in the next slide. The club coach is also to increase communications between the coach and the district representative, which is the district trio. They will submit club status reports at appropriate times. And this is really to help with the communications between the club coach and the district officer team to really understand how the club coach program is progressing, or if there's challenges, they can work with the club coach, and the club coach is almost like an extension of the district officer team. They're there to help the club right there during their club meetings. And then the district leader credit will now become a permanent incentive. That's no longer something that has to be voted on by the board of directors and Toastmasters. it is permanent. And the district leader credit is whenever a club coach successfully completes club coaching term. That means the club has achieved distinguished status. And then the other requirements are the club coach has to serve at least 6 months in that role, which is at the bare minimum on or before January 1st. And also they have to reach 20 members, 20 paid members, the club. So if that club reaches 20 members, achieves a distinguished status or higher, and the coach is in place for a minimum of 6 months, then that coach will earn that incentive. Does anybody have any questions on these program updates?
Can I have a question?
Hi,
If
Grace.
that's okay. This is Grace.
Uh-huh.
There's only one coach at a time. What about clubs that already have 2 coaches in place?
Oh, you can have 2. Yes, clubs can have up to 2 that remains the same, Grace.
Well, it says coach only. A particular person can only coach one club at a time. It's not that a coach a club. It isn't that a club can only have one coach. A club can have 2 coaches.
That remains the same.
Correct. That's correct, Grace.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, a particular person cannot coach 2 clubs.
That is correct.
So only okay. Now, second question is if someone's in place already, do they have to reapply?
For the club coaches that were in the program year of last year and were unsuccessful, and that's your first year, they are going to follow the rules and regulations of that current year. They do not have to follow the new program updates. So they will utilize the grandfathered program for this year.
And is that the same in terms of, I noticed that before the club only had to achieve a distinguished status, but now there has to be 20 members?
So there has to
the way it was before?
No. So the 20 members is for the district leader credit. You can't just get the credit for a coach and district leader without having the extra pieces in place.
Okay, all right. So, and that's true for both existing coaches and 2.
Correct.
Okay, so that part of it isn't grandfathered in.
Correct. It's still the same.
All right. I think I understand all the changes and how it impacts existing coaches. And it sounds like there's a little bit higher bar to get someone in to be a coach, a new coach.
I'm going to raise my hand.
Debbie? Yes.
Yeah. So my understanding is that 20 membership requirement is not a change. It's continued from last year.
That is correct.
So that
Okay.
20 member requirement is already in place for last year's coaches.
That is correct. The change is that it
Right.
becomes a permanent incentive.
Right.
An incentive.
And the people who they get if the club becomes distinguished, they still get the club coach credit. They just don't get the district officer credit
Correct.
if it's under 20.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That really helps a lot. I was unclear on this after reading it several times, so really appreciate the clarification.
Thanks, Grace. That's great questions. Okay. This is what the pathways module looks like. It's a screenshot. We're not going to go through pathways here, but I just wanted to show you that you have to log on to pathways. And if you don't see it, type in the search box club coach program, and then it'll show up. This is the new agreement form that will be utilized. I had to research a little bit, but the hyperlink is on the bottom of this website. And it is coming from Toastmasters International, and this is the club coach agreement form. It does look a little bit different, but it is expectation to be signed upon these members. And if I don't want to zoom in, but I think it's the club coach. There's 2 club coach spots, so you could have up to 2 coaches, a club president or delegate, and district director or delegate. Those are the signatures required. Anybody have any questions? Okay, and that's the end of the overview of program changes for club coach.
Yeah, I have a question, Tan. That club coach program, does that have to be completed before they're assigned or during their service?
That form needs to be submitted ASAP.
No,
No,
the
The coach
pathway.
program. The
Module?
coach pathways
pathways.
program.
It needs to be, it is something world headquarters will look up and they will trace before appointment.
I see.
World headquarters will take care of that, not the district. Okay. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to talk about the changes. If there's any more, please feel free to ask. I'm going to return conduct to our instructor, Jim Kearney.
Tan, can you send out a copy of those slides?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Thank you.
I'll give it to Nico.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. How are you? I'm glad you're all here today. I'm going to be sharing my screen. While I share my screen, I'm not going to be able to see everybody. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit interactive. If I'm going too fast, I need somebody to slow me down. And if I start asking questions and everything like that, I would like everyone just to, if you have a question, to simply unmute yourself and ask your question. I want this to be as interactive as possible. Well, let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get started here. Okay, you guys see a single screen that says first class club coach? Yes?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I would like everyone here to remember that you are not in this alone. We're going to be going over what it takes to be a first class club coach in District 33. And if you have questions after this meeting, please feel free to reach out and contact me. Here is my email and my phone number. I prefer that you call me directly. If I don't answer, please leave a message. I will call you back. I don't always get to see my email every day, so phone has a faster chance of a response. Today, I'm going to be going over the club coach qualifications, why we need coaches, and how to be an effective club coach. So first off, somebody tell me, what do they think the difference is between a coach and a mentor? Anybody, just unmute yourself, please.
A mentor
Coach is-
is a person who is helping a brand new club become excellent, and a coach is a person who has agreed with that club and with the district to coach an existing club that has fallen on hard times.
That's good for club coach and club mentor. Yes, thank you, Tim. Anybody else? What about on a personal level? Anybody?
A mentor is someone who can provide some vague advice to help guide you in the correct direction, while a coach tells you what to do in order to succeed.
Correct. Awesome. Great. Here's what Toastmasters International says. The difference between a coach and a mentor. A coach is geared and set for a specific goal in a specific short-term time period. A mentor is one that changes the way you think. It's long-term and it's going to be based on relationships rather than tasks. So the combination between what Ryan said and what Tim said, if you combine them together, this is what you come up with. So a coach is based on performance and a mentor is based for individual development. Today, we're going to be talking about the club coach, which means we're talking about the performance improvement of a club. Now, there are certain requirements that are needed in order for club coaches to be assigned. Right, first one for the club coach qualification, you heard Tan talk about the new club coach program in Pathways. That's number one that has to be done. And you also cannot be a member of the struggling club when you're appointed. Now, there's a reason for this, and people sit there and say, "Oh, I'm out here, I'm getting involved with this club, and I want to join the club and be." If you do that, you're not looking at it from the outside. The moment you get inside, you're not going to be able to see the forest from the trees. You need to be able to stay back. You need to have no preconceived ideas about what the club is, and you have no knowledge about how the club works currently. All you need to do is look at the club, see what they're doing, and then turn around and give suggestions. And note, you can't force the club to take on anything that you say. All you can do is give the suggestions and show them how it works. The club also needs to meet certain qualifications. The club has to have at least 3, no longer 1, but at least 3, but no more than 12 members. The coach is not a member of the club when it's appointed. The club has to want to have a coach. You cannot supply a coach to a club that does not want that coach. If you do, they're not going to listen, and you're just wasting the coach's time. The coach is supposed to be appointed by the club growth director or the district director and their appointee. And now we have to go through all the different pieces in order to have them assigned, right? So you have the different signatures that are required. You have to have the meeting between the 3 different parties, and you have to set out the expectations. Last year, we started developing a club coaching contract or agreement outside of the normal signatures, which says, this is what the club coach is expected to do for the club. This is what the club is expected to do with the coach. And then the club and the coach both sign it, an agreement, so that we know what they're going to be doing and what their targets are. Now, everyone's going to sit there and wonder, why do we even need a club coach? Most Toastmasters clubs experience that life cycle, up and down, up and down. People come in, people go out. God forbid, for whatever reason, maybe they move, like I moved to Florida, or maybe their job changes and they're no longer part of the corporate club. So the numbers will go down, and then you have to replenish the people who have left. All Toastmasters clubs go through this roller coaster ride. There are ups and downs in membership all the time. I am sure if you look at your own club, you see it right there in front of you. People move, they lose their job, God forbid they pass away. We should always be seeking new members. And that's why Toastmasters International has so many membership drives per year. If we succeed at the membership drives and enroll 5 new people during each drive, then we won't have a membership problem. It's when we slip up, when we don't get those 5 new people, that we run into issues. And often clubs don't know how to get back on track. And that's why we need the coaches. Toastmasters clubs need to be rebuilt for whatever reason that makes their existence into jeopardy. And it's up to us to show them the way, supply the coach, and bring them back to excellence. Now, there are a couple of tasks that a club coach needs to do. First, they need to build rapport. You can't walk in with a 2x4. If you walk in with one of these things and you go about starting to browbeat people over the head, it's not going to work. You're in a volunteer organization. I guarantee you it's not going to work. You need to be nice. You need to listen to the officers. What do the officers of that club see as their problem? Talk cordially. Let them know what you will be doing and what your first steps are to help them solve their problems. You should observe and analyze the meetings. Go to the meeting. Allow the officers to introduce you. Then you can get up and you can introduce yourself as the club coach. You can tell the members what you'll be doing, what your goals are as the club coach, and then you can move forward from there. It's important that you remember everything is member centric and it's not about you. You're there to help that club and its members. So you want to help the club develop their goals. Show the club that your goals and their goals are the same. They align with each other. Help map out a plan of success. If they don't have a club success plan, feel free to dive in. Help the officers develop one. How many points do they need in order to achieve what they want on the DCP board to become distinguished? How many people do they need? Because it's both rounds, right? You need the goals and you need the members. What will you be looking for? How can you help them? It's always about the club and its members. It's never about you. Enable the club to achieve their goals. Give them the power to do what they need to do. If they have things that are missing, pull out that moments of truth and go through the moments of truth with them. Let them set each section of the moments of truth and gradiate on either the left and the right side of how well they do that in the club now and how important it is to them. And when there's a difference of 2 or more, then that's an issue that they need to be working on. So you point that out and you let them know and you give them the tools necessary in order to help move on and fix those issues. You want to be able to instill enthusiasm and responsibility into the club. This means that you have to assign tasks. You have to get feedback from the members. You have to know how they're doing on their tasks, etc. That means that as a club coach, you're always talking to the members, you're always talking to the people of the club, and you're sitting there guiding them and helping them and massaging them along the way to success. And every little thing that you do should always reflect something that the club itself wants to accomplish. While you're a club coach, you have the opportunity to develop a whole bunch of different things for yourself. Team building, your leadership experience, your proficiency as a facilitator and a negotiator. There is a club coach playbook that is out and available on the internet. You don't have to sit here and try to hunt things down. I will drop a copy of these slides into the chat room during the question and answer period. All the links are here. You simply click on the links and you can download all the different things that you need. But it's important that as a coach, you make that club connection. There are a whole bunch of different things that happen within the club, what we call the culture, the club culture. This is the club dynamics. What went well? What needs help? People don't care how much you know as a coach until they know how much you care about them and their club. Develop that personal rapport with members, with the officers. Talk to them. Make sure that they understand what you're trying to do and make sure they understand how that fits within their club goals. Gain their respect and trust, and you will have them doing all the things that you need them to do. One of the main things that you want to do when you're developing that rapport and you're developing that trust is you want to give them that sense of ownership. They need to attach their emotions in order to get some sort of a response. If you want them to help you come up with a plan that they are willing to work on, you need to ask them what they think. Ask them what they're willing to do. Ask them when they expect to have those pieces done. You're there to help. I think that if you go out there and you use my own personal tagline, you're not in this alone, that will probably foster something with them, with the club. Because a lot of times clubs are floundering and they don't know where to turn. And this is what's causing them to have the issues that they're having. You are there to help. You are there to guide. So let them know that you're there for that purpose. Encourage the clubs to use other clubs as models. There are several clubs out there that have multitudes of people. I am in 2 clubs that have over 40 people in each. They're very successful clubs. And if you can have other clubs model those clubs, then the clubs that you're coaching would become more successful. The moments of truth is only at one part at a time. So you don't want to take the moments of truth and slam them with everything, because nothing is ever going to get done. If you have an elephant in the room and you have to eat that elephant, you can only do it one bite at a time, and you have to make sure that bite is not so big that you end up choking yourself. The same goes for the club. They need to take these things one piece at a time. As a club coach, if you can get the club to change their mindset and do the things that are necessary in order to bring their club back, that will become a big win. And it doesn't have to be 50 million things at once. Maybe you're only targeting 3 things for the year, and those 3 things will help drive them into distinguished status. So you work on those 3 things and the club agrees, and together you map out a plan and you put in actions and tasks in place, and everyone works towards that same goal. You want to be able to have that status check, that moment where you look at it and you sit there and you see, yes, this is working, or no, it's not working. If you took the moments of truth and you aligned the different pieces and you gave them a scale of 1 to 5, and you used how important it is to your club and how well your club does, and you do that comparison, you can easily see where problems would arise. And by doing that, you can identify the club's strengths, you can identify their challenges, and you can sit down with the members and the officers, and you can devise a plan of action with tasks, dates, and names to hold people accountable. This gets the club members engaged. They're doing something more than just going to a meeting and talking. they're doing something that makes them feel part of something bigger than themselves. When people are engaged, they feel worthy. They feel like they matter. It keeps them around because they feel important. And if you develop that rapport and those personal relationships with all the members of the club, this will help them more than anything else rebuild their club. At the club meetings, you want to sit there and take the time to teach the club how to plan and how to produce the meetings, how to produce all the different things that they want to do. You are the coach, and as a coach, it's all about setting the how-tos in a place. When you do that, that means as you walk away from the club after they become distinguished, then the club itself will know how to survive and thrive. So it's important that these lessons get out there. You show the club leaders how to do this stuff. You show them how to find and use all the other tools that you're going to provide, including the links and things that I have inside these slides. Good quality clubs have a member service perspective. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is always, always, always about the member. It is never about you as the coach. The criteria for the club is the service that is reflected in the quality and the reliability of everything that club does for its members. Every little thing that's there is supporting the member in reaching the member's goals. If that member wants to do level 5 by such and such a date, then everything should be laid out. The VPE should know enough to go in and schedule these speeches in order to meet that time frame. And if the VP doesn't know that, then as the club coach, it's your job to teach them and provide the tools in order to make that happen. Everything revolves around the member. The other half of the equation for the DCP, besides the educational and the goal points, is the members, the membership drives. Now, there are 3 membership drives in Toastmasters International where they push out these drives. And the goal is for each club to get 5 new members during those drives. If the club gets that, that's 15 new members every single year. If you have 15 new members every year, you'll never have a problem with your membership ever again. It's going to take a mind switch. You're going to have to go in there and click the way the officers are thinking, change their mindset, because the more members you have, the more exciting the meetings are going to be, the more fun the meetings are going to be, the more engaged the members are going to be with each other, and you will be able to combat attrition so long as you keep on holding on to that membership building culture. Now, of course, you can always add different things into the club. You can run different club membership contests. You can have a individual member program. You can have incentives set up. The 3 that Toastmasters International has is Talk Up Toastmasters, the Smedley Award, and Beat the Clock. And currently, we are about to enter the Smedley Award, which is from August 1 to September 30th. So if you're going to be a coach for a club, you should be driving that club to get 5 new members during that time period. And you can have the club set up some sort of membership contest inside the club and give out a award for whoever brings in the most members. Things of that nature will always be there because it makes people feel like they're important. Everybody wants to be recognized for something. I'm sorry, did you say something? I I can't hear. Can someone hear what that was saying? All right, not hearing it. I'm gonna continue. Retaining members provides continuity and ensures strong leadership base. This is where people learn how to be leaders. They stay in the club long enough because they see the things that are going on and they take a more important role as they gain their leadership experience. All the people who have been in the club for a couple of years, maybe, certainly several months, could be looking forward to being a team leader, an officer in the club. People who have been officers all the time could be looking forward to being area directors or division directors. Every member in the club is always responsible for keeping all other members satisfied and involved in the club. Now, this is probably something that isn't very well known, but we all agree that we're all here to help everyone else succeed. And the only way to do that is to communicate with the members of the club and be involved. Get them moving towards their goals, get them to be engaged, get them to grow. Yes, Pete.
They're about ready to close up the rooms.
Oh my God, really? Is it that time so fast? All right, real quick. You need to recognize achievements. Everybody responds to kudos. Everybody. It makes people feel important because they take pride in their work. Public recognition is a huge motivator. Always make recognition as public as possible, as often as possible. Looking towards the future, as the club coach, give that club a vision of where the club wants to be. The club is in trouble, but all is not completely lost. The problem is they can't see their way out of the mess. And you, as the coach, are there. You are the one that needs to show them their vision and their part in it, and they will allow you to follow in that success.
30 seconds.
Oh my God. Man, we should ask for more time. You gotta finish the club success plan. Get your club to fill a club success plan because it is the roadmap to their success. It allows the club to see where they're going and how to get there. And since we are running out of time, I guess we won't have any time for questions and answers. I'm sorry. I will send you guys a copy of the slides. Please feel free to contact me